Just be glad for all you have that's in today.
Hey everyone, Connie here, and welcome to the monthly movie night reaction to the Forest of the Firefly Lights. So this is an anime movie. It's also known in Japanese as Hotarubi no Morai, and I know nothing about it. All I know is this is a movie that, well, one, when I initially had it when it was initially chosen by the poll, I didn't realize what it was. I didn't realize it was Hotarubi no Morai because for some reason I had it listed as To the Forest of the Firefly Lights instead. Now I don't know what it's about or anything. I just know it's like Hotarubi no Morai is a movie I'd wanted to see for a while because it had been suggested to me. This is not on Netflix as I initially thought as well. But I have it downloaded, so everything's good. But yeah, I know nothing about this. And interestingly, a lot of the movies I've been doing lately have either been just kind of meh for me or not as great. I don't know. But that's kind of the risk that goes with doing this random poll where a lot of the choices in the poll listing are movies I've never seen or heard anything about, and they're suggested by others, so. And that's nothing against you guys who suggest them, by the way. I'm just saying that that can happen. Movies that I just don't end up liking just aren't for me. Because again, I'm going into them blind. But that's going to get into what I want to talk about next before we begin and everything. The next movie night for August is going to be non-poll voted. And there's a reason for this. There's a movie I've been wanting to see for a while, and I'll formally announce it in the afterthoughts. But there's a movie that I've been wanting to see for a while that I just really don't want to keep putting off any longer. And even if it gets put into the poll options, I don't know if it'll be chosen. I want to get it basically out of the way. I have no idea if it'll even end up being good, but it's something I really do want to see. So yeah. But again, I'll get to that in the afterthoughts. Talk more about that there. But yeah, the next poll will basically be at the end of that. We won't be doing a poll for the August movie reaction. That will be chosen otherwise. That's basically being chosen by me. So yeah, like I said, for this movie, for To the Forest of Firefly Lights, I know nothing about it other than it's anime. I don't know anything about the story or the characters or voices. I am doing the sub, the original Japanese, not because I have any preference in regards to that in comparison to the dub. I'm just choosing to do the sub for this one. It's just as simple as that. So yeah, we're going to just get into this and hope for the best. When the screen fades black, pause this redirect and go to the description below. Follow link to the reaction, and after you watch it, come back here to the redirect and resume play. Because after it fades to black and then fades back in, everything from that point forward will be my afterthoughts and will contain spoilers to the episode. Also to note, if I do seem a little tired or whatnot, I did just watch, pre-record reactions to 4 episodes of MLP. So yeah, I've already done quite a lot of recording today, so just letting you know. But all of that being said, yeah, I will see you at the reaction. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. Okay, so this was To the Forest of the Firefly Lights, or Hotarubi no Morai, a short film, which, again, I wasn't expecting. Basically about this young girl growing up, spending her summers with a kind of former human spirit named Gin. Hotaru is this young, precocious, cutesy girl, nice girl, who, when she's very young, like 5 years old or so, stumbles into this forest that's inhabited by spirits. She meets Gin, a spirit who used to be a human at one point. Though he kind of says he's not quite a spirit. It's not really quite that. More like a human given immortality by spirit magic. And they form a very quick friendship and bond. As the years pass, that friendship starts to become something more. Hotaru and Gin clearly start feeling romantic attachment to each other. And in the end, he does die. Because Gin, if touched by a human, will disappear. His body is extremely fragile because it's basically being held together by the spirit magic due to the fact that he technically has lived well past a human lifespan. The king of the forest, or whatever it was, has basically granted him immortality. Again, unless he touches a human. So we see multiple summers throughout their lives. They're just spending time together. But then it gets to where she's entering high school and stuff, where she's just entered high school, and he invites her to the festival, the spirit festival that had been talked about earlier on in the movie. And the instant that he invited her to that and that was brought up again, I knew that it was going to be the last time. I knew it was going to be the final summer that they were going to have together. It was just super obvious. Because, again, the festival had been built up, it had been properly established, and had been something that really hadn't been talked about a lot between those two. So the fact that he brought it up in the manner of which he did definitely came across as something final. So they go to the festival, have a great time, but on their way back from it at the end, Gin helps who he thinks is a child spirit from falling, but it ends up being a human. Because, again, it's mentioned multiple times that humans can end up getting caught up in the festival, not realizing it's for spirits. So he ends up accidentally touching the human boy, and because he's already about to disappear, he just tells Hotaru, "Come here, embrace me." And she does. Gin finally gets to feel the touch of a human. For the first time in his life. Because he was abandoned in that forest as a baby. And not only was it the first time he got to feel the touch of a human, but it was someone he came to love. Someone he came to really, truly care about. Someone he had wanted to feel the touch of. I mean, he even said prior to that, like when she was like joking around about glomping him, he said, "Do it then." He wanted to feel her touch. And he finally did, right as he died. And at the end, it kind of came full circle. She came back to visit with her uncle again. And it was already said that she was going to have trouble, that she was going to feel pain going back. But she went back because she still has all of those memories. Now, there are two feelings I have toward this movie. One, it was actually really beautiful. There was a lot of beauty in it, a lot of great imagery, but just beautiful in terms of its characters, their interactions, and the relationship that grew. It felt really legitimate, like the relationship was actually properly built up and established. It didn't feel like it came out of nowhere. It didn't feel like it just happened. No, it felt like they properly built a relationship here. And I like that. The second aspect, though, is the second thing I feel about this movie is honestly there was a little bit of a creepiness factor. I'm just being completely honest from my perspective. A little 5-year-old girl wanders into the woods, and all of a sudden there's this stranger wearing a mask calling out to her. That is a big red flag. I'm sorry. And the fact that she runs to him right away, just that instant trust, it's like this is how kids get kidnapped. They see another person, they automatically assume that person can just be trusted. And yes, he ends up being a great person. Geen ends up being awesome, but still, it's just really unnerving and unsettling to see that kind of happen. And then there's the aspect of the fact that there was the romantic relationship between them. Because, again, they met when she was just a little girl, and by the end, she was still just a teenager in high school. And he had been presumably alive for hundreds of years. A very, very long time, because he doesn't age like people do anymore because of the magic that's holding him together. So it's really a very contrasting age between them. So it's just really weird to me. Um, so the movie definitely had some great stuff to it. Like I said, the relationship itself, once you got past how kind of weird it was actually beautiful. It was believable. It was well handled. And never once, until like the very end pretty much, did they actually acknowledge it was love. Until the end, it was pretty much just a friendship, but it was obvious it was something more to us as viewers. But it wasn't also hammering it in. It wasn't like slapping you in the face with that either. So again, it was handled very well. It was handled very elegantly, you could say. The art and animation was good, nothing amazing though. I've seen much better in many other anime films, but it wasn't bad by any means. The voice acting was good. The soundtrack was great, honestly. The soundtrack is honestly where it shined. Um, and the pacing of it was actually very good as well. Even though I really didn't expect it to only be like 37 minutes technically, because uh, the 45-minute runtime includes the credits and the song and everything at the end. So technically, the movie itself was only like 37 minutes. Um, Only a little bit longer than an episode of a show. So again, short film. Um, I didn't expect it, but for what it gave us, it was still very well paced. It felt very natural. Nothing felt like it was too rushed or too slow. Yeah, I can really, really acknowledge that it handled itself well. It wasn't especially exciting or interesting most of the time. A lot of it was actually kind of not slow, but boring. And even boring is a weird way to put it, because it wasn't bad. I'm not saying it was boring as in it was bad. It was just not like a lot happening. There was no huge conflict. The only real conflict you could say there was the fact that she couldn't touch him, and she really wanted to, and he wanted her to. But it really didn't read as like any major conflict. It really didn't. um, it just felt like it was very peaceful, and there was nothing happening outside of just seeing their relationship grow, which again, it handled very well. But at the same time, there were points in it where I was like wondering, okay, when are we actually going to get to something fun or interesting or exciting? There were a couple points where it just felt like really boring, for lack of a better word. Um, but overall, I think the movie was actually really enjoyable. I think it was a good, just short, simple film that did what it needed to do. And that was tell a unconventional, but still beautifully handled love story. Um, so yeah, I can't complain too much. This is actually probably one of the better ones that I've reacted to for these movie nights. Not the best, but one of the better ones. But moving on to the next movie night. So as I said in my pre-thoughts, we will not be doing a poll this time, because there's a movie that I just really want to get to. I really just want to get to it. So this time, for this month, I'm taking kind of executive control and choosing the movie myself. This will not be a common thing. I will not be choosing the movie every time. The poll will still come into play pretty much every time. It's just this one time I do want to choose it myself because I really just want to get to this movie. It's been something I've really wanted to watch for a long time, pretty much ever since it was first announced. So, sometime in August, hopefully not at the very end like a lot of these have been, sometime in August, we will be reacting to our next movie night reaction, which will be Wreck-It Ralph 2, Ralph Breaks the Internet. See, this is a movie I've wanted to see for a long time. I love the first one. The first Wreck-It Ralph movie is phenomenal. Plus, it has a very big connection to me in a lot of ways. Let's just say I very much relate with Vanellope's struggles, especially with how people view her and how people just assume things about her because of just who she is. I can relate to that from multiple angles, from the fact that I am trans or LGBT in general, from the fact that I am a nerd, that I don't have a job, that I'm a gamer, and so on and so on. There's a lot of different factors that have made me kind of this social outcast for a lot of people. And so I've always been able to relate to Vanellope on a very personal level because of it. And ever since Ralph Breaks the Internet was first announced, even before the title was given, I really, really wanted to see it. And then it came out, I never got to see it in theaters, and now it's on Netflix, and I just haven't watched it since. And I especially wanted to react to it for you guys. I wanted to do a reaction for it. And it's been on the list, but it's never been, I don't think it's even been up for the vote. But if it has, it never has been voted on. And it's like, I just really want to get to it. So next month for August, we are going to take a break from the poll for this movie. The poll will return for the September one. But next month will be Ralph Breaks the Internet. And again, I don't know when it will be exactly, but I'm going to hopefully try to get to it before the end of the month. Though admittedly, I do have a lot going on during August, so I don't know exactly when I'll be able to get to it. We'll just kind of have to see. But yeah, I am really excited for that for sure. So yeah, that's what's happening for August movie night. But yeah, tell me in the comments below what you thought of To the Forest of the Firefly Lights. What did you think of the characters, the romance, the short film style, just how everything was handled in terms of its pacing and its presentation? Let me know your thoughts on all of that and more in the comments below, and thank you so much for tuning in. For now, I'm Connie, and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.
And though you've come through many obstacles,